Hello and welcome about this educational video about COVID-19. Today, I'm going to teach you basic information about COVID-19, short history of it, infection mechanisms, post-recovery effects, the wake-in mechanisms, and misinformation. If you start from the basic information about it, COVID-19 is an envelope positive sense and single-stranded 30 kilo base RNA beta coronavirus. Investigation of the Covid-19 genome proved it was 96% identical to the bat coronavirus RATG13. Its protein-encoding genes have almost 80% sequence similarity to the SARS virus in the early 2000s, and it also employs the angiotensin-converting enzyme 2, also known shortly as ACE2 receptor for cellular entry. Coronavirus virions are spherical with a diameter of approximately 125 nanometer. The most prominent feature is the club-shaped spike projections emanating from the surface of the virion, which also gives them the appearance of a solar corona, hence the name. Coronavirus particles contain four main structural proteins: spike, membrane, envelope, and nucleocapsid. If we will give a short history about it, in the last week of December 2019, a pneumonia outbreak occurred in Wuhan, province of Hubei, China. When the genome was sequenced, it was named Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus 2 by the International Committee for Taxonomy of Viruses. The bat origin was suggested after 96% genome sequence similarity with a coronavirus isolated from a bat species that colonizes a province 2,000 kilometers away from Wuhan was found. Evidence for human-to-human transmission became strongly supported on the 22nd January 2020 after a visit done by the World Health Organization. The first outbreak was officially recognized in February 2020. COVID-19 was declared as a pandemic by the World Health Organization on March 11, 2020, according to the European Centre for Disease Prevention and Control. On the 17th June 2020, there were over 8 million cases and even over 400,000 deaths worldwide. Today, in the beginning of 2022, there are almost 290 million cases and even almost 5.5 million deaths. If we will talk about the infection mechanisms, COVID-19 can be transmitted by respiratory droplets, close contact with the diseased patients, and possibly by fecal, oral, and aerosol contact. The airborne transmission is highly virulent and represents the dominant route to spread the disease. Majority of COVID-19 infected individuals, around 80%, are asymptomatic or present mild symptoms. Yet there is evidence that these asymptomatic people can still infect others with COVID-19. Therefore, it is recommended to wash hands often, avoid close contact, cover mouth and nose with a mask, cover coughs and sneezes, and to clean frequently touched surfaces daily. If we will talk about the actual cellular mechanisms, how the viral infects cells, upon cell contact, the virus enters either via endosome or plasma membrane diffusion, mediate attachment by the spike proteins to the ACE2 receptor. Spike proteins are activated by cathepsin L or transmembrane protease serine 2 in proximity with ACE2 receptor, which initiates the fusion of the viral membrane with the plasma membrane. Thus, its genome enters inside the cell. And inside the cell, viral RNA is released and the body proteins are translated. First, NS protein 1A and 1AB are translated and cleaved by the papain-like protease and 3C-like protease to form functional NS proteins. Structural protein S1, S2, envelope, membrane are translated by the endoplasmic reticulum-bound ribosomes and presented on its surface as a virion assembly preparation. The nucleocapsids in the cytoplasms are assembled together by the genomic RNA. Then, the virion precursor is transported from the endoplasmic reticulum to the Golgi apparatus to the cell surface using vesicles. Finally, virions are released from the cell through exocytosis. If we will talk about the post-recovery effects, although it is still early to say what the long-term effects of COVID-19 will be, multiple studies reported using patients that have recovered at least few months ago from the from infection that they feel fatigue or shortness of breath, joint pain, chest pain, sleep abnormalities, or even psychological distress. If we talk about the vaccine mechanisms, we have mRNA vaccines like Moderna or BioNTech, replication-effective viral vector vaccines like AstraZeneca, inactivated pathogen vaccines like Sinovac, and we even have protein subunit vaccines and virus-like particle vaccines. If we talk about protein subunit vaccines, the subunit vaccine is the one which is based on the synthetic peptide or recombinant antigenic proteins. This vaccine type, however, requires auxiliary support of an adjuvant to potentiate the vaccine-induced immune responses. Viral vectored vaccines trigger and prime cytotoxic T cells, which ultimately leads to the elimination of the virus-infected cells. mRNA vaccines are emerging and known infectors. They are able to mimic the antigen structure and expressions as seen of a natural infection. DNA vaccines encode both antigen and adjuvant to induce adaptive immune response. The transfected cells provide a steady supply of the transgene-specific protein that is similar to the live virus, which is endocytosed by immature dendritic cells, and then present the antigen to the CD4 plus and CD8 plus T cells together with major human complex 1 and major human complex 2 antigens on the cell surface to stimulate humoral and immune response. Live attenuated vaccines are created by reducing the viral length of the pathogen while keeping it still viable in order to stimulate immune response. And if we talk lastly about misinformation, with the COVID-19 pandemic, people are not only exposed to the danger of getting infected, but also getting exposed to misinformation. Especially social media is an important source for spreading of it. This misinformation ranges from conspiracy theories about the virus being created as a biological weapon in China to claims that certain foods kill the virus, which cause hoarding goods. Studies have shown that concerns about the social validation and reinforcement from one's social connection can cause people to get distracted from accuracy on social media. And I want to thank you for taking time and to watch this video. Have a nice day.